And welcome everybody to a new episode of Let's Talk Broncos, coming to you live from the Mile High Sports Studios. You can follow us on Twitter at Mile High Sports, the LTV podcast, at Bri0322, JR Draft, and Zach_Seegers. You can find all of Zach and Joey's wonderful work on milehighsports.com and listen to any of our previous episodes on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to our new YouTube channel, and if Facebook or Instagram is your thing, you can follow us there too. Joey, Zach, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing well. I'm just excited to be in studio with you guys. The last time we were all together, we did it from a hotel room floor with one mic. So, I mean,
we're on the come up.
Yeah, no, a little bit nicer.
We leveled up just a little bit.
Slightly.
I mean, I don't
There's a table.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to brag, but we got like this foam here that makes it quieter in the room.
We got this foam here.
like I think we're doing okay.
LTB podcast now with foam.
Moving on up. I do want to remind everybody who's watching on Twitter that you need to jump over to the YouTube stream if you want to interact with the show.
Or Facebook.
Or Facebook. I think you go over to Facebook. That would be also okay. Send us your questions. Go ahead and send us your comments. We'll flash them up there on the screen. You'll get your comments highlighted, barring that they're appropriate. Zach, you didn't answer the question. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here in the Mile High Sports Studios. Excited to be live with you guys. We just had a great 4th of July celebration all together. I really enjoyed that.
Would we really call it great?
I mean, it was great for the most part. I know it was rough on you, close to death on the mountain, but good time overall. And yeah, I think we've been planning out this idea, this debate club idea, for a really long time. And so I'm really, really excited to be doing it with all of you.
Absolutely. So we're going to throw out basically some superlatives that we have come up, and we're going to allow the other members of the LTB crew to discuss and debate these. I'm going to get started here with a question, as long as both of you gentlemen are ready for it.
Can I throw in something real quick?
Please.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, let's explain the point of the
clear,
idea.
I have to argue something, even if I disagree. Yeah. So Zach takes what I believe. The whole point of this is debate.
We're first take-a-fine our show.
Are you doing Rochambeau to figure out who goes first?
No, I think whoever you throw it to gets to go first. I think that's the power of whoever is judging that round.
Okay.
So we'll rotate. Each of us will judge a round. Well, each of us will judge 2 rounds, throw out a question, and the 2 people are forced to debate at what point you, if you're live commenting, along with whoever is judging that round, will determine the winner and who made the better points and the better case for their player.
I've heard that it's going to be potentially no holds barred.
We're pulling out all the stops. We are going full Stephen A. Smith. Bayless.
I've been channeling my inner Stephen A. Smith since like noon today.
I know you have.
So and also Bri, I know you get a pick like who gets to go first, but just because I've won, like 2 contests in a row, right? Don't just throw it to Zach. You know what I mean? Let's make this a fair
fight.
A fair fight.
Or are you gonna throw a chair across the studio? Is that what's going to happen?
We're going for 3 for 3.
Going 3 for 3. Yeah, Joey tends to win everything. That's including trying to win Monopoly and horse race. We had a great time this weekend. Let's jump right into it. We're going to start with my first question. I got to decide who I'm throwing this to first. I didn't like the threatening tone of Joey, so we're going to go Joey first. Which side of the ball is going to have the most impact this season? Joey, take it away.
Okay. Okay, cool. I think that it is going to be the offensive side of the football. I do. When you look at where the Broncos have poured resources through the years, they've always had a really good defense. They've poured a ton of resources into that offense. First round picks. They have wide receivers galore, running back galore. They went out and signed a right tackle, Billy Turner, while having another one in Calvin Anderson, Garrett Bowles, Quinn Miners. The list goes on and on. We lost a great, and I want to emphasize this, great defensive mind in Vic Fangio. We now have a rookie defensive coordinator in Evero, and I think that I think that the defense may take a little bit of a step back while the offense takes a step forward this year.
You know what? I think it's a good point. I think you make good arguments. I think the defense is going to be more impactful because we know what the Russell Wilson offense looks like. You look at Russell Wilson throughout his time in Seattle, it was just a near guaranteed top 10 unit. You know, not a lot of wavering, but you're going to get an offense ranked somewhere between 8 and 10 every single year. And that's awesome. What is going to be the most impactful thing as to what the Broncos 2022 season is clearly going to be the defense, because that's the unknown variable, my friend. We don't know if this defense is going to be better than the Vic Fangio unit, which I think it will be. When you look at a Vic Fangio defense that sneakily ranked like 22nd in DVOA, was like 24th in pass DVOA, was actually pretty suspect, was just good in the red zone. If that unit improves a good bit, now you're talking about the Broncos as maybe a legit Super Bowl contender with a top 10 offense and a top 10 defense. If that defense is pretty poor, you know, maybe regresses from the Vic Fangio years, and now you're looking at a bottom 10, bottom 5 defense in the league, which I don't think will happen, but could, now you're really in trouble. And you're on the outside looking in probably of the playoff conversation with how loaded the AFC is right now. So I think how that defense performs is going to have the greatest impact on the Broncos 2022 season.
Okay, so it does have a great impact, but can I ask you real quick, Bri, was the question, does it have the bigger impact or positive impact?
What's going to be the most impactful?
Impactful, but it could be either negative or positive.
Okay, perfect. I will let everyone know here. If you're an LTB listener, Zach has had training camp notes in the past, some of which, you know, very interesting. I'm always looking forward to Zach's training camp notes. I think the one clip that has gotten the most views on our LTB account was Zach commenting about Russell Wilson and how he thinks that he's going to be the Russell Wilson that brought him to the Super Bowl that year. Now, I'm just saying, if we're talking impact,
oh my goodness.
If we're talking impact, that would be super impactful, no? Especially when we compare it to offenses in the past. That's something. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's impactful, but we know it's going to be good. No, it is going to be impactful. Don't get me wrong. What's going to be more impactful? We know the offense is going to be good. That's not the unknown variable here. You got Russell Wilson. You've got all the talent. Offense is going to be good. The unknown variable here is the defense. So what's going to impact the Broncos season? We know offense is going to be good. Is this defense elite? The Broncos are elite. Is this defense suspect, subpar, takes a step back now that Vic Fangio's gone? This team is going to struggle to make the playoffs. The offense is the offense. Like, unless we're talking Russell Wilson going down or something, the offense is the offense. That's what's stable now about this Broncos team. It's different from the last 5 years. Now it comes down to the defense. That's the X factor on the team. That's what's going to have the biggest impact.
But don't you think, I think the Broncos have enough good players where on the defensive side of the ball, and I think this is our last point. We're doing 2 each, correct?
I think I'm done.
And I have one more.
Yeah, finish it. Well, you did first. So you're getting the first and last argument here, but we'll allow it for the first.
I'll allow it because I want to see what else Jerry has to say.
And I'm going, yeah, okay. I think that the Broncos defense has enough good players where it's hard to see them, Zach, having a bottom 5 roster. I think it's much more likely that they go from a really good defense to maybe they stay around there to a middling defense. And what's so impactful about middling? I don't know. I think the Broncos offense, the most impactful thing that could happen is going from a habitual, terrible offense to one of the best in the league.
But that's already happened. We know that's already happening.
I mean, you would hope so. Okay, I don't want to get too far off on this one question. I do want to let everyone listening at home over on the Twitter, on the Twitter, I've turned into my dad or my grandfather, on YouTube, on Facebook, please chime in. Who's giving the best points? Kind of point out where you think they're falling on here. I don't think we're going to name a winner just yet.
We could, yeah. What are the results looking like? Do you have any comments right now?
I don't just yet. I think we need to throw the poll out there. We do have Mike over from MHRT said the lines have been drawn. Bri is on with LTB, but not 5280. I see how it is. The war will never end. So shout out to MHRT. Good to see you guys.
Everyone's got a favorite child.
That's true. I don't think I'm anyone's favorite child, so
that's fair.
I don't even see my parents. Let's go ahead and put a poll out there, and we'll get discussion on this one in general. I do want to move on and throw it to the next question, if you guys are ready for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Now it's between me and Bri.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Okay,
It really is.
all right.
I'm kind of not looking forward to this because Monopoly, you raked me over the coals.
All right. So my question for you guys is what non-quarterback, because I think Joey kind of hit on Russell Wilson being a pretty big X factor for the Broncos. What
Allegedly.
non-quarterback is going to be the biggest X factor for the Broncos this season? And Bri, you start us off here.
That is a tremendous question. And non-quarterback is really emphasizing that we know that was obviously the missing piece. That was a missing element to this Broncos organization. I'm absolutely a defensive-minded girl, so I think I have to stick true to my roots. I am going to pick my favorite child, and I'm going to say that the X factor for the Broncos is going to have to be the Patrick Surtain. I think that not only in his rookie season did he prove just how elaborate the secondary was for the Denver Broncos defense, just through what he was able to accomplish. He's absolutely playing lights out defense. I don't think that's going to change during the offseason OTAs. I think that was pretty well apparent that he is on his way to being a top 10. And I think he's in the top 5 of that. And I think at the end of the season, that's what you're going to see. So I think there's no question about it that he's going to be the star of this team moving forward, the one that everyone's going to be just shouting accolades of. We're going to start talking about Hall of Fame seasons. That's the X factor for me. It kind of speaks for itself. I think it's just an easy answer to have. We were talking prior to going live about who you would kind of shoe in for these sorts of things, and that's my answer without blinking an eye.
Okay, so when I think of X factors, I think of more in the lines of what could be, what not certain, but something that could really change the trajectory of the Broncos.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident that Patrick Surtain's going to be good. Do you
Yeah,
agree?
I mean, that's why I chose him.
Okay, so
Come on.
then I don't know if I would consider that much of an X factor, Bri.
The X factor is that golden button that you're going to be pushing.
I don't know. I don't feel my biggest X factor is going to be Courtland Sutton. I do. For how good he was last year,
Okay, so
he was really, really good. But, man, if I can combine the Courtland Sutton from 3 seasons ago or 2 seasons ago, athleticism, explosiveness, go up and get those 50-50 balls, and the more crisp and I think veteran version of Courtland Sutton that we saw last year, we're talking about a really, really good receiver. A really good receiver. And I think that is a big swing factor for the Broncos, especially with a new quarterback in Russell Wilson, a guy that can really get the ball down the field, a guy that all the rumors are pointing to this is a Russ year, right? Having a receiver for him that could be a true number one, and I think that's what Courtland Sutton could be, is a massive X factor for this Broncos and could take the Broncos offense over the top.
I get where you're coming from, and I'm going to need people to chime in at home because my frustration in this very argument is that you're taking an unknown. Maybe you said he was a tremendous athlete, a great wide receiver, but we don't know how good he could be. And therefore, like an X factor to me would be a no hesitation. I'm going to press the golden button, and I'm going to 100% put all my chips behind this one player. And I think Patrick Surtain is the player that you put all your chips behind.
Joey.
I totally agree with you, Bri, but that doesn't make it a very big X factor for me because it's already certain. I think X factor is another way of framing X factor in my mind would be swing factor, right? A guy that could swing the outcome of the season positive or negatively. I think Courtland Sutton, his potential is so great, it makes him a true X factor. We just have yet to see the full number one wide receiver version of Courtland Sutton that I think all of us in Broncos country think he can be.
All right, I'm calling it as the judge. It's tight. I think I would have gone with Joey. Frankie is going with Bri. While Bri, because we didn't get any more feedback, if you can circle back and judge our first round on which side of the ball is going to have more impact. If anyone else can join Frankie in backing Bri, I'll be outvoted. And I'll give the point to Bri. Otherwise, I think the tiebreaker, I'm going to have to give it to Joey. So if anyone else can comment real quick.
What if I was going to vote for you?
I mean, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have played my hand. Who do you think made the better case for which side will have more impact?
That's really difficult. It is like choosing between your favorite children or your pets or something. And I don't want this to come back to me in a negative way, but me and Joey already fought a lot this weekend. I think you made some tremendous points about the offense, although I would say the defense is going to have the bigger impact. Do you think Joey did a good job of expressing how he thinks the offense will be?
This is ridiculous. Okay, so Joey gets the point.
Joey gets the point.
Comfortable 1-0 lead for Joey. During that time to decide, no one else backed Bri's side of the argument. The Sir Puff and stuff comes in. X factor variable in a given situation that could have a significant impact on the outcome. I kind of agree with you, Sir Puff and stuff. I'm giving it to Joey. I think Sutton, if Sutton is that 2019 guy, watch out. If he's 2021 Cortland Sutton, it does neuter the offense.
I think I know Sir Puff and stuff. So hi, Sir Puff and stuff.
Great name, by the way. Appreciate you listening. Sorry, Frankie. Appreciate your vote, but a tiebreaker. But Frankie did have a side question. Let's address this before I throw my question out to you guys.
Did Joey get the point?
Joey did, so it's 2-0 right now. This is real rough. You shouldn't have given him the first one.
Dude, we can't play these politics out in this office right now.
Yeah, your active collusion caught on there.
I am quitting the show.
Frankie wants to know, when Denver faces the Raiders, should Surtain travel with Devontae?
When the Raiders, I don't know. It's rare, honestly, that you see corners travel in the NFL. I think Surtain is a talent where he possibly could. But honestly, if Ronald Darby is healthy, I feel Ronald Darby's a really good cornerback. I don't know if I would exhaust it all on Devontae Adams.
If it was, I'm in lockstep. I wouldn't. If it was like the Packers offensive last year, not to disrespect Alan Lazard, but where it was like kind of Devontae Adams and no one else because Robert Tonyan was hurt,
right?
Then maybe I do have Surtain travel with him. But this Raiders offense, it's got Hunter Renfrow too. It's got Darren Waller. It's got plenty of weapons. I would want Surtain playing where he's best.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Interestingly enough, to that point, Mike Clark did. I just wanted to real quick. His biggest X factor is a cornerback, Michael Ojemudia.
I think he could be a big impact if Ronald Darby struggles to stay healthy, and K1 has some of those concerns too. Then that is huge for Ojemudia. You also see the NFL going towards bigger nickels, and I think that's maybe a more natural fit for Ojemudia. When you look at some of his background as a safety or whatnot, he might be perfectly suited for like that third safety nickel corner role. And I could see him thriving in it. Those slot players are getting bigger and bigger and more physical because it's an important part of the sport, and Ojemudia would fit that role like a glove. My first question for you guys.
Is it my turn, I think?
Well, no, you went first. Oh, no.
I didn't go. You went.
I went. You're right.
It's my turn. It's my turn.
Yeah. Someone's got to keep track of the rules.
Yeah.
So now one of them will get a point. That's for certain.
Could you imagine you just awarded it to yourself for
congrats.
Yeah.
My question for you guys is, which Broncos player is most likely to make their first Pro Bowl this year? And we are going to start with Zach.
I'm so glad you started with me, because the answer is Patrick Surtain II. Did not make it. And let the viewers, when you're voting, keep in mind that Bri clearly does not believe whatever case she's about to make. Look at this reaction. Patrick Surtain is the answer here. Just an elite player. Bri made the case earlier for how awesome this guy is. So it works out great for me. But Patrick Surtain is a remarkable talent. I think he has the potential to soon be one of the best corners in the league. Corner is a position where we typically see huge sophomore jumps, and especially from players that are decent. Like if you are a decent rookie corner, that is so hard to do. Like Jalen Ramsey wasn't phenomenal as a rookie. He was decent and then was awesome the next year, like elite all-pro level. AJ Terrell, same exact thing. Decent rookie year 2 in 2021, makes an all-pro team. Second team all-pro, probably should have made it even higher. Patrick Surtain was better than those guys as rookies. He was good as a rookie. I think not even Pro Bowl. I think there's a damn good chance he's going to make an all-pro team this year. And if you make an all-pro team, you're making a Pro Bowl. He's never made a Pro Bowl before. I don't know if there's a good second choice. I think it's Patrick Surtain with a bullet. Hey, Christopher. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Christopher. You joined at a fantastic time as I'm about to wring Zach's neck. But I won't do that live on camera because, go ahead. I won't do that live on camera because I just don't think we have the legal funds to get me out of jail. I do want to say that although the likely choice should be Patrick Surtain, I think we have to think there's a fairly strong case, and you said there was no close second. I think Javonte Williams has a pretty decent chance of being up there.
I was hoping he'd be overlooked when I said that.
No, how could you? I think it's also an obvious choice, and as we, are giving points to Joey for arguing the offensive side of the ball, having the most impact, I think then we have to point to who's the player on that roster that's going to do that. Javonte Williams was absolutely dominant in his rookie season. I think he could go on to have 1,000-yard year this season, and I would hope that as the running back competition starts to shake out, that you see just how tremendously dominant he's going to be throughout the season. So for impact player for the Broncos, I think having the ability to make the Pro Bowl, it's frustrating as we're talking about this, how we were certain there were Broncos players who were eligible and earning or deserving of that of a Pro Bowl spot last season and weren't able to do so. That now we're taking an entirely reinvigorated team and we're putting them in a position to not only make the Pro Bowl. I think there will be a couple of them. So there's a potential that
we're both right. I think there's a good chance we're both right, but if it's only going to be one, it's going to be Patrick Surtain, and here's why. The AFC's chock full of running backs. There's a lot of good ones. You've got Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, the Ravens, whoever is the running back for the Ravens, probably J.K. Dobbins is going to get a lot of good touches. Najee Harris, that's just the AFC North. You've got Austin Eckler, you've got Derrick Henry, you've got Jonathan Taylor. All the best running backs are in the AFC. Meanwhile, look at cornerback, and this is important for the Pro Bowl. Look at cornerback. The consensus top 3 best cornerbacks in football, I'd say, are Jalen Ramsey, Jair Alexander, A.J. Terrell, all in the NFC. You could throw Marshawn Lattimore up there, NFC. All the best corners are in the NFC. There's not much competition for Surtain in the AFC, relatively speaking. Running back is going to be much harder to make it. And so if you got to pick between one of the two, you got to go with Surtain.
That sounds like a safe approximation of what you think is going to happen. But why not
I think that's the point of the
challenge it a little
exercise.
bit? Why not challenge it a little bit? No, I don't think it is, because you argue the defense when the offense was the safest bet to go with. So I don't think so, because I didn't get the point for X Factor being Surtain. So Mike thinks it's scary, Judy. I think you just smothered yourself there and put out any type of fire that you thought that you had. And I'm just going to say, although there is more competition there, Patrick Surtain was pretty low on the national list for cornerback, and so I think that it's potential that might be because he's not a household name yet, and he's got to do something pretty crazy in order to do so. And I think Javonte Williams, who has been highlighted quite frequently across the board as just an angry runner, I think we have to kind of give that a little bit more spotlight.
See, this is what's amazing about this debate show that we're starting is that I just got to witness Bri argue against Patrick Surtain.
It was pretty great, pretty beautiful.
I mean, that was awesome. I love it.
I don't feel good about it or myself.
But Bri, I'll be honest with you. Okay,
we don't have any votes in the chat.
Here.
We don't have any votes in the chat, so it's up to you.
Yeah.
Let's start here. I would give you guys both 0 points because I didn't like how you guys tried to find middle ground there a little bit. I didn't like that at all.
We need first take.
Yeah, we need to just argue, right?
Zach was trying not to make me cry.
Yeah. I didn't like the, well, I guess they both could talk. And
okay, but it's true. We both kind of realized it at the same time that we were kind of arguing silly things here. Does that mean we get half a point?
But I stuck the dagger in.
Yeah, I think Zach won it. I think Zach did win it. I think with the point specifically about the competition level at the running back position, Bri, Zach, a critique, I would have brought up Melvin Gordon and potential splitting snaps there.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I don't believe Melvin Gordon's going to do that.
Yeah.
I will say we do have.
Are you clicking on things?
No. Topher called JR the new Tony Reale. That's pretty funny. Frankie's giving me the point, so that solidifies things. I like it. Mike threw out Dalton Reisner as a guy who can make the Pro Bowl for the first time. Talking about, I do want to say on your running back point, you liked the cornerback point I made there. Frankie commented back listing J.C. Jackson, Denzel Ward, and the Dolphins corners. I would also throw out Marlon Humphrey as another AFC corner. And there are good corners in the AFC too, 100%. Not at the same level as the NFC's corners.
Yeah. Also, this is about debate, not actually being right. Just who argues their point the best.
So look at you all sitting there with your points.
Well, wait. Oh, shoot. And Bri's going to stay scoreless here because she has to throw out the next one.
Right.
I'm sorry, Bri.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to find my banners here, remaining professional, because that's what I do. Okay. Gentlemen, which Bronco is most likely to enter national stardom in 2022? And because Joey started last time, it's going to be Zach's turn.
Thank you, Bri. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Man, that's a really good question.
I have mine. I'm ready to roll.
Well, here's the thing. I would like to go Javonte Williams, but I think he's already entered national stardom. I'm going to go.
Thanks for stealing my point. You're welcome.
I'm going to go Caden Stearns. I think he's going to steal the starting safety spot. I think he's going to be a part of one of the league's most elite secondaries, alongside Justin Simmons and Patrick Surtain. And I think he's someone that really Broncos fans are sleeping on, frankly. He played at such a good level for a rookie safety last year. He was asked to play several different positions. And I think, although it was fairly limited reps and all those, he did everything you would have wanted to see from him. Going to practice, going to camp as frequently as I do, I have heard constant chatter from Broncos coaches, from Broncos players, like respected veterans, that Caden Stearns is the truth. And he is unbelievably intelligent. He views the game like a quarterback. And then he's got all the physical gifts in the world too. He's finally going to have a chance to thrive this year. You look at a guy who's like a top 5 high school recruit coming out. He's always had the ability. He's finally putting the puzzle pieces together. And he's going to finally be on a stage where he has a chance to shine. And I think he's going to do just that. I think very quickly the Broncos, who are got a lot of primetime games, and outside of the Denver area, no one knows who Caden Stearns is right now. Maybe down in Austin they do. But outside of that, no one knows who Caden Stearns is. And I think he's just going to absolutely light it up this year and quickly emerge as one of the better safeties in the league. And I don't think we're going to have any drop-off in the Justin Simmons, Kareem Jackson, the best or one of the best safety tandems in the sport. I think even with Caden Stearns entering that starting lineup, that conversation's not going to change because he's going to be just that good.
I like Caden Stearns, I really do, but I think there's a better option out there. I 1,000% think there's a better option out there, just because everyone appreciates him a little bit, but it never seems like the guy gets the respect he deserves all the way. And then that guy's Draymond Jones. Draymond Jones is a guy at the interior defensive line position where it's not like your regular interior defensive lineman, right? Where it's going to be a run stuffer, make your little tackles here and there. This guy is a pass rusher and a really good pass rusher. This is a guy that every year since he's came in the league has gotten better at pass rushing. His stats just continue to get better and his film just continues to get better. Honestly, he may have been a guy I would have thrown out there for that Pro Bowler discussion.
Yep.
Draymond Jones is awesome. I think he is so slept on outside of Denver and even a little bit in Denver. Draymond Jones is 1,000% my answer. And that's even without going into the other stuff like, hey, he did all of that without any edge rushing help last year, really. We have Randy Gregory coming in, Bradley Chubb, who is saying that it's his first time in a long time, healthy offseason. Draymond Jones is in for a big year on a contract year, I may add, and that would be my pick.
I think he was already a star. I think we're looking at a guy that was an elite player on the defense. And I guess it's national stardom, which is fair. Let me get that
straight. You're trying to disprove Joey's point by saying he's already there.
I don't think he's entering it, but I guess national stardom, he'd have to enter that. Here's what I'll say. I don't think interior linemen, unless you're an Aaron Donald, you ever really enter national star. DeForest Buckner's been an all-pro player for years, and I don't know if he's that much of a national star. It is very difficult to do at that position. Safety is a little more marquee. I think you're going to have some big interceptions.
So?
I absolutely think so.
I don't know.
It's in space. You see the players in space more. I think the average fan it's easier to go, wow, that guy in space is awesome.
Okay.
And I think we're going to see a lot of turnovers from this defense. And
from the defense, but Caden Stearns.
Yeah, back in that safety position.
I don't know. I feel like the safety position is the position that it's toughest on the entire defense to make a big play. You are the last line of defense. And while you may get an interception here and there, that it's rare. How many guys get 5 interceptions a year? Even 4 interceptions a year. It's not a lot. Now, Draymond Jones is going to have, I think he's about to have a 10-sack season.
But he hasn't done that yet.
Lot.
He hasn't shown that type of production.
But he's gotten better every year. What was his sacks last year? I think it was around 8, 7.5, something like that. 7. It was something like that. He's
to your point, though, now there's edge rush help, which they're going to gobble up some of those sacks. Malik Reed is not going to steal as many sacks from Draymond Jones.
And Draymond Jones is now. Like, that's the thing. Most sacks in the NFL are cleanup sacks. That's just what it is. Most of them are. It's rare you just see Von Miller dip around the bed, hit the quarterback clean, and get the sack. Usually the quarterback scrambling from another edge rusher getting pressure. And you have a guy now coming up the middle when edge rushers are coming around, quarterback has to step up. Who's there? Big Draymond Jones.
Fair, but what's the fastest path to pressure in the NFL? Up the gut, he's going to be getting there first and creating the pressures. It'll be Gregory and Chubb that clean it up.
We'll see.
I don't feel like there is enough evidence, although
Let the record show I got a vote from Frankie. Let that be stated on the record before you make your decision.
I'm controlling the buttons here,
And that's
Zach.
fair.
I know I can see the vote here. But I will say, I don't know if there's enough evidence that Stearns will get the rotation quick enough off the bat in order to make a name for himself. So unless he is actually the starter, I know that he was pretty efficient with his snaps last season. And unless he's the starter, which you seem pretty confident.
He's gonna be.
You seem
Did y'all watch Kareem Jackson last year?
confident.
I watched Kareem Jackson last year. I love him.
Careful with what you say here.
Third safety is a valuable position in the NFL, and he's going to be a great one, and he's going to see starter level snaps, but it's not going to be in the typical safety role. And he'll be a valuable piece of the defense, but he will not be back deep within him. Watch the Raiders and Ravens game.
Listen, I'm not even going to argue anymore.
No, I'm not going to argue this one either because now he just changed my mind as I was delivering a most fatal blow, and it's just not fair.
That isn't fair. You have to go with your gut.
I have been finagled out of handing down my agenda.
Mike tied the vote up, to be fair, the fan vote, so we're at 1-1.
And Joey's points were actually where I was. I want you to know that from deep down in my soul, I was leaning to very much so that he would have the best possible chance. But because I don't feel strongly enough about disputing the knowledge and sourcing that Zach Seegers has given the LTV podcast, I'm going to give Zach the point. I am going to ask, though, that he stop clicking my hosting button.
So hey, I just have a follow-up real quick to this, because I didn't argue against Caden Stearns.
Oh, you
but
didn't
who's
attack
most
him.
likely to be in the Pro Bowl next year, you think? Draymond Jones or Caden Stearns?
Draymond.
And we're talking about national stardom.
She already gave me the point.
It's just a year early.
I will say, I started making the positional point, and I was like, oh, shoot, I should not have started going down this road, but I had to see it through. Okay.
I didn't expect you to do it either.
It was bad. I started saying in like one sentence in. I'm sure you could see it on the show. I went like, oh, shit, I should not have gone down that road. But I think I ended up Christopher threw out Judy. I thought that was a good one. Recalibrate the heat-seeking missile system.
That's what I'm saying, Christopher. I think that there is potential that you saw him be
a year older.
A slight live. Okay, he's a year older, but has he shown slowdown?
Yes, last year he did.
Was that slowdown?
I think so.
I
think so. We'll see.
Pop it in the comments.
I think it's my turn.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, this one's.
I don't really know.
Wait, no, I did. Who's going to be the biggest X factor last time? Yes, this one's fun. Which Bronco is under the most pressure in 2022?
Okay, who's going first?
I went with you starting first last time, so I think to be fair, I have to go to Joey, but you will get last word.
There's a couple options I could go with this, but I'm going to go with Jerry Jeudy.
Oh, for the death blow?
I think Jerry Jeudy definitely has the most pressure on him this year. The guy is a first-round pick. The Broncos, everybody was super hyped up about him. He's entering year 3 now with Russell Wilson at quarterback. It is most definitely make or break season for Jerry Jeudy. If he doesn't have a good year, we're looking at him going into next year as like, oh, I don't know what our expectations is. I don't know if we're looking at him the same as we are right now. I don't think fans are going to be as excited if he doesn't have a big year. It's make or break for Jerry Jeudy, without any question. No, he can't have any more off the field little things. He can't do anything like that. It is put up or shut up, Jerry Jeudy. What do you think, Bri?
I will say, not to change your answer or anything, I did say Broncos, so you can go with non-players if you wanted, just because Mike put Hackett down here. So I did want to say.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Thank you. You still want to click it?
I'm 1,000% saying with you.
Yeah, I think that's the first name that crossed my mind, and then I thought of an even more impactful position within quarterback, and I think Russell Wilson is under the most pressure in 2022. Coming in, having to prove yourself by switching teams, and a team that seems to be kind of sour grapes with the departure of Mr. Wilson. He's going from go Hawks to let's ride. He's kind of got to reestablish himself and prove that he is that elite quarterback that deserves that contract money, as that'll be coming up, and the Broncos will have to decide whether or not they pay him. And I think Broncos country has almost just assumed that he's going to be just back to his old self and the most impact on this team. I don't want to put my chips in that pile. I don't want to push it in. I'm not going all in on it because I think there's a lot of pressure under that position coming to this new team with this new system. And I don't think that anybody kind of gets a free year. And I think Russell Wilson has to go in and prove that you're not just going to be handed those wins, and everything you do in the off season and on the internet is great. And we can all fall in love with it. But if those wins do not start to tally up in that column, it's over.
Okay, I highly disagree here, Bri, because I think if we're talking about pressure on Russell Wilson, that would mean he personally feels that pressure, right? I think that Russell Wilson is very established. He could retire tomorrow and be a Hall of Famer. What else does the guy have to prove? The Broncos traded for him because of what he's proven already to this point at an older age. Literally could retire tomorrow, already Hall of Famer, already thought of as one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. Russell Wilson has been elite, has proven it. I don't think he has a lot to prove. I don't. At the end of the day, when Russell Wilson retires, even if we're to have a bad Broncos year, we're not going to remember the Broncos. We're going to remember Russell Wilson winning Super Bowls and
1-yard interceptions, maybe. Is that what we'll remember?
Maybe at the Hall of maybe while he's making his Hall of Fame speech, but that just he has not a lot else to prove.
I think you have to assume, and you almost, if your quarterback didn't have any pressure on themselves, I think Russell Wilson has all of the pressure squarely on his shoulders for this team, because that's the leadership that you take on when you become a quarterback who's supposed to be a franchise quarterback. You're telling me that he would just walk away and say that he doesn't take on any pressure, he's not feeling the pressure. Like, I think he would obviously say he stepped in knowing the pressure, and that's why he's been going so hard to sell not only Broncos country, but his coaches, his teammates, just taking it all upon himself, much like you would expect from any leader of a team.
But the question is it more than Jerry Jeudy, who has proven nothing? Was a first-round pick, has proven absolutely nothing. He's still on a rookie contract.
He has nothing to prove and nothing to lose.
Still on a rookie contract. He has a lot to lose.
Well,
He's still on his rookie contract. He hasn't got his big payday like Russell Wilson has in the past. That's the question we need to ask ourselves.
I don't think people are asking themselves, is Jerry Jeudy feeling under pressure?
I think you guys actually picked Jeudy would have been my number one choice. I disagree. I think Russ has a good bit of pressure on him.
I was just making a point.
I know. I think she made the good points to support the pressure on Russ. And because I just didn't see that point at all. Plus, she's got the Frankie vote. She's got the fan vote on her side. So I think I've got to go with Bri on that one.
Frankie, where are you, man?
Let's go.
All right, Joey.
We were friends.
It's to you now.
We were friends. At one point in time, we were all friends.
We were. Now LTB's torn us apart slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Okay. My question to you guys is which Broncos player is most likely to win Defensive Player of the Year? DPOY. And we are going to start with Bri.
I feel like, I just wanted to point out that Mike also agrees with Bri. That was he also said Judy has more expectations on him, but Wilson has more pressure. So there's a delineation there, and I just wanted to throw that out there.
I think Wilson's got a lot of pressure. If he retired, you were saying like, what would he lose if he retired? I think if you retire, you look at like the current landscape with guys switching teams and having success. It's stupid, but I could see like, let's say the Russ Broncos thing goes really bad. I don't think will happen, but if it does, I could see that really hurting his legacy like 20 years down the line, where you look at Matt Stafford, who's going to have the counting stats over him, and maybe has the same number of rings, had more success in different franchises, and you go, oh, it was the Lions that held him back.
My thing is, no one remembers Joe Montana on
and
the
Wilson
Chiefs.
need the LOB. I get that, but
that's what it would be like in people's brain 10 years from now.
No, but if Wilson struggles somewhat, people will go, oh, he needed the Legion of Doom to win.
I don't know.
There will be some of that on his legacy, 100%. I think there's some pressure there.
And we're starting with Bri for Defensive Player of the Year.
I'm just going to take my microphone and I'm just going to throw it across the studio because I don't think I need to say anything else. And this is only because had Micah Parsons not just been entirely a rabid animal out there, just running away with the show for DPOY, I think you have to go Patrick Surtain. And I don't want to harp on this too much. I want to hear actually how Zach is going to argue this. And I don't even want to. Yeah, Frankie, I think, yes, 100%. The internet doesn't.
What's your point?
What is my point? I don't have one. I'm just saying, Pat Surtain is my vote, and I don't really want to harp on it too much, but I do want to hear what you think about who would be the next runner-up because I'm just really interested in that. So I'll give up my first round.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so Surtain's...
How confident Bri is right now. So I
Surtain's
take that
good.
as disrespect.
So I do take it as disrespect because cornerbacks don't win Defensive Player of the Year. You know who wins Defensive Player of the Year? Pass rushers. And I'm going to go... Man,
you go Draymond Jones, throw away the last point.
Well, that's the point of the that's the point of the game. That's the point of the game. I think you can make. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go Randy Gregory here because just because we've seen him play at an All-Pro level very recently, pre-injury last year. You look at like the first 8 weeks of 2021. He's an All-Pro caliber player. And if you don't believe me, look at NFL.com, very reputable source, Greg Rosenthal, respected analyst, had him on his midseason All-Pro team. After that injury, he was not the same player, but he's going to be fully healthy in time for the season. And now the weed stuff isn't a concern with Randy Gregory anymore. It's, full steam ahead. And I will say, in every setting Randy Gregory has been in with looser weed restrictions, he has played out of his damn mind. University of Nebraska, consensus top 3 pick before the drug test stuff came out. Last year, first year the NFL had relaxed things, looked like an All-Pro. Now he's in Colorado with relaxed restrictions and everything. And he plays a position that wins Defensive Player of the Year. Cornerback doesn't win it. It's won it once in the last 20 years. Champ Bailey never won a Defensive Player of the Year, I'm pretty sure. And he was outstanding. Darrelle Revis. You can't play cornerback better than Darrelle Revis, I'd argue, at his peak. He didn't win a Defensive Player of the Year. I love Patrick Surtain, but Champ Bailey and Darrelle Revis at their primes didn't do it. We're like Patrick Surtain in year 2. It's going to be really, really tough. Stephon Gilmore only won it because there wasn't another competitor out there. If anyone's going to do it, and I get injury and whatever with Randy Gregory, when this guy is healthy, he plays at an elite level, healthy and on the field because of weed stuff. It's Randy Gregory.
I'm really glad that you brought the health part up that I didn't have to because you've really just already given me any sort of idea of what would be any of the downfall from that, including health and just whether or not you can actually argue for it. You took a lot of time to come to this conclusion. And I don't know if it was because you were grasping at straws at the position or if you were just trying to talk yourself into being able to do so, but anyone who spends that much effort to try to discount someone else's position on a topic is usually feeling a lot of pressure. So again, I'm going to fold my arms across my chest and say that although it doesn't happen often, Pat Surtain is not a once in a every other year sort of athlete. This is once in a blue moon stuff. This is like a unicorn. You're not going to find another player like Pat Surtain, and therefore his play on the field is going to represent that. And this is the year because I think that you're only going to see improvement from him and his output on the field. I just think it's just really that obvious.
Edges that have won this award since 2012. J.J. Watt, Khalil Mack.
Is Randy Gregory a
T.J. Watt? I think he could be. But lots of defensive ends. I will forfeit this point to you, Bri. If you can name one cornerback, not named Stephon Gilmore, who has ever won Defensive Player of the Year. Any defensive back, actually.
But you took the one that you took literally the only one that I.
Well, because he was recent. Everyone knows Stephon Gilmore. The NFL has been around for 100 years. Name a second.
Okay.
That's my low blow. That's my dirty point. Corners don't win it.
I just want everybody to know that they're watching the absolute last episode of Let's Talk Broncos. I will not be back. It's whether or not these boys bring back their episodes.
If this is our last point, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the last point.
Wow. There's a lot of pressure on me as a voter here. I can give the whole contest away and give it to Zach. I'm not going to, or we could go
three-way tie. We do have a bonus question we could throw out to the three of us and run through that. So don't let that be your determining factor.
No, it's not going to be my determining factor because I'm not politicking, unlike I think some of my votes were. We'll let the people decide on that. Anyways.
Are you stalling also?
I am going to give the point to Zach, Bri. And Bri, I have a criticism for your argument.
That's fine. No,
if you're ready.
Go ahead, yeah.
I would have definitely hit the point that Patrick Surtain is just the much better football player and just hit that over the head.
I did.
But like constantly. I don't think Zach had a great. It would be impossible for him to.
You're saying because I didn't state the obvious enough for you?
Yes, I pretty much because Zach hit.
I love this because we're seeing how competitive the LTV podcast is.
Zach
has the final results from that.
Zach got off that point so quick. I don't think anybody it was so quick. We needed to bring up the fact that he never addressed that. He never, ever addressed
my whole argument was positional value. I was going to go with Justin Simmons, and then I was like, then I can't make my positional value point. So that's why I was pausing so long, and then I was like, Randy Gregory.
Because your first argument was amazing. It was just like, yeah, Patrick Surtain's the better football player. Argue that, Zach. I'm folding. And then Zach didn't argue it, and then it just didn't get brought up again.
I said he was a unicorn. He's literally a one-in-a-lifetime sort of player.
I would have to call Zach out personally, be like, Zach, you never answered my question, man.
I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. I held back.
Sounds right. Like I win. Sounds like I won my first ever LTB competition.
All right.
Get that goose egg off my name. By the way, I needed that. I finished in last place in every game prior to this, including horse race and Monopoly.
I needed a win. About that. I got to tell a story real quick before we get out of here. I want to thank everybody for hanging with us. Zach and Joey did not fare all too well in Monopoly. Zach was out first, but then he decided to go bankrupt and give all of the winning potential over to somebody else, and it was not either of us. So this is the downfall of Let's Talk Broncos.
It was my girlfriend, and it was clear nepotism. Actually, honestly, I thought it was the
like her more than you, so I guess it doesn't really matter. Everybody, just let the listeners at home know where they can find your stuff and what you got coming up next.
For sure, yeah. Just give me a follow at JR Drafts. Find all my writing at Mile High Sports. Those are my two biggest things. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. I really enjoy sitting here with my two co-hosts, blast, actually being in person, being able to communicate like this. Yeah, that's all I really have.
Yeah, for me, writing at milehighsports.com, I'm going to have an awesome, really long deep dive column coming out tomorrow. I'm still writing it right now. So stay tuned for that. I think that's going to be really exciting. It should drop around noonish. Mile High Sports, more writing over there. I'm writing an article a day, so always new work for me. At Zach_Seegers on Twitter. And then one thing I really want to shout out, the reason we're in studio today is because we are talking with Mile High Sports and we're figuring out how awesome can we make this show? What other things is this show missing that can make it even better? We're having tons of cool like technology and stuff thrown at us and assets thrown at us that we didn't even expect. So things might change a little bit. There might be an additional show here or there. We're going to play with some things a bit as we're working things out, but it's all like, trust me on this. It's for the best. It's for the positive. It's so we can make it easier for you guys to see the show, so we can have cool, different like segments as part of the show. And
I was going to read the comment here. Better watch Zach's Venmo transactions. Make sure he's not paying for this win. Thank you so much, because I honestly feel like a part of me has died and will never come back. And that is just what we do here on Let's Talk Broncos. Christopher says, thank you to Bri, JR, and Zach. Great show. Frankie says, the studio is dope. Some great energy peeps. Coops in the chat, unrelated, but I love the shirt and hat combo, Zach. Everybody loves that.
Scotch and soda. Brandon McManus approved.
Wow.
By him rocking something.
Like it. Before, there's more. Oh, very cool. It's good to see you, JC.
Appreciate you repping the Eagles. I'm a big Jalen Hurts believer.
Fantastic. All right, before I carry on much too longer, you can find me here with the Let's Talk Broncos crew over on MHRT with the 5280 crew every Thursday with the Fan Cave on Mile High Sports 98.1 FM. Yeah, that's about gonna do it. I think we should head on out of here. Thanks for everyone for listening, watching, tuning in, voting. Even though I lost unfairly, I say there needs to be a recount. Have a good night, everybody.